Good evening. Welcome to the Moderator Advisory Council meeting of August 19th, 2026. I am Adam Dash. I'm town moderator, and we are here. First off, we're going to be starting with an interview for Anthony Fitzpatrick for the Bylaw Review Committee because he had a conflict on the other nights. So the other councilors are going to mute themselves. I'm going to do the interview, and then we're going to go into the bulk of the meeting. Most of which is going to be devoted to discussing the applicants for the various committees. So I'm going to promote Mr. Fitzpatrick. Did I just promote you? Yes.
How's that?
Good evening. How are you?
Good evening. Thank you. Well,
Thank you. Thank you. So we're going to start off here by interviewing Anthony Fitzpatrick, who's an applicant for the Bylaw Review Committee. Good evening, and thank you for coming.
thank you. Thank you for accommodating my scheduling conflict on the other nights. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem. It's August, I understand. But you get to wrap up our process. So, yeah, we're asking the same questions of everybody just to keep it fair.
Sure.
And, just be relaxed, be yourself, answer what you think it should be. There are no right or wrong answers in the world here. It's just going to just have a chat, take, 15 minutes or so, however long it goes, and then we will see what we do. So can you please provide some background on your education, work, and volunteer experience, which you believe are relevant in serving on the Bylaw Review Committee, including legal skills that you have?
Sure. So I am a lawyer. I've been in private practice in Boston for approaching 33 years. My practice is as a litigator and a trial lawyer with a specialty in intellectual property litigation. So part of my job on a daily basis is to take frequently complex issues of technology and issues of law and try to distill them down to be communicated, whether orally or in writing, in a more digestible, understandable way. And that's, a set of skills that I think I've developed over the past few decades. In terms of volunteer experience, I've volunteered both professionally in the legal community and also here in town. Professionally, I've been very involved in the Boston Bar Association in a number of different roles, including leadership roles over the past more than 2 decades. The principal kind of longest involvement that I had was as a member of the BVA's amicus committee, which is the committee that's responsible for friend of the court briefs that the association files in legal cases of note. And I served on that committee for 12 years from 2004 to 2016 and was involved in selecting cases to write briefs in and actually writing briefs on a variety of different legal issues, constitutional issues, criminal issues, etc., over the course of that period of time. So dealing with a very wide range of different legal issues. And then here in town, I volunteered in a number of different capacities related to my kids as they were growing up and going through the school system. And the principal involvement, the most significant volunteer role that I've had here in town was with respect to Troop 304, which is the girls and boys scout troop in Belmont, the last remaining scout troop that we have in town. My younger son was a scout in Troop 304 all the way up from 6th grade on, and ultimately became an Eagle Scout. And so I served in a number of different roles, but principally was the committee chair for Troop 304 from 2019 to 2024. The committee chair in a scout troop is one of what they call the key three, one of the principal leaders of the troop, and is responsible for coordinating and chairing the parent committee. So I was involved as the chair of that committee during the time period when the troop became co-ed, and we brought girls into the troop. I'm proud to say that we had one of the very first female Eagle Scouts in the country in 2021. And also I was very involved in and led and coordinated the effort for the troop to find a new home for a number of reasons. The troop had been at the Methodist Church in Cushing Square for really a century. We needed to find a new home for a number of reasons, and ultimately we're able to find a great new home at the Payson Park Church. And I kind of quarterbacked that effort for the troop. So that is really kind of my principal volunteer activity here in town.
And what makes you want to serve in the bylaw review committee?
Well, I got your letter, and also spoke to a couple of other people in town who encouraged me. My kids are out of the house now. I have time. My role at 304 ended 2 years ago. And so I really am looking for an opportunity to help serve the town. I've lived here for 19 years. Very invested in the town, plan to stay in the town. And this seemed like a good opportunity, a good match, a volunteer opportunity that would match with potentially my legal skills.
And how do you think the bylaw review committee should operate when a bylaw change is proposed by a person or another committee?
Well, I know that the bylaw review committee itself is subject to a town bylaw and has its own rules and regulations. I did take an opportunity to review briefly the rules of the committee, and so obviously I would want to see the rules followed. I would familiarize myself in greater detail with those rules. And obviously there are people who are already on the committee, who've been on the committee for a while. I know that the town clerk is an ex officio member of the committee, and so there's institutional knowledge there that I would want to get the benefit of. But as with everything, I think, due process is key. So it's important to have notice, to have an opportunity to be heard, follow the rules. I know the rules talk about following parliamentary procedure. And so I would want to follow all of that, consistent with, since it's a town committee, consistent with those rules.
How do you describe your method of working and communicating in a group or committee setting?
So my approach really is to be very collaborative. I believe in being open, direct, transparent with colleagues and people with whom I'm working on a committee or any other joint effort, and trying to see if we can get, whatever the issue is, whatever the problem is, define hopefully a consensus around a solution and drive to the solution. So I value being very practical, being very transparent and collaborative, and trying to ultimately reach consensus. That was something that I really worked very hard on with Troop 304 in particular, because we had, we were able to grow. As part of the leadership team for the troop, we were able to grow the troop over time, grow the number of scouts participating, grow the number of parents participating. The committee went from maybe 6 to 8 parents at any given time to 15 to 20. And not everybody agreed about everything. And so one of the things that I saw as my responsibility was to try to allow for people to air their views in a respectful way, and then hopefully reach a consensus. And I think, almost always we were able to get to some point of consensus to solve whatever the particular issue was that we were addressing.
How do you think the bylaw review committee can best communicate with and advise the town?
Well, I think, again, it's a matter of transparency and being direct. I think that, as I understand it, the role of the bylaw review committee is to ensure that bylaws are properly written, properly structured, that they're not inconsistent. If there's a proposal to an amendment to amend a bylaw or introduce a new bylaw, to make sure that it's not inconsistent with other bylaws and that it's legal, obviously. And so, I would would assume and hope that the role of the committee would be do that work itself and make sure that it gets to whatever the proper conclusion is, and then communicate that to the select board, to the town meeting, and try to do that in a way that is understandable and straightforward, so that someone doesn't need to be a lawyer and have to kind of parse through a lot of perhaps unnecessary legalese in order to understand whatever the bylaw is that, or the amendment is that's being considered.
Is there anything else you want to add about yourself or the committee?
No, I don't think so. I just, as I say, I am very invested in the town. I've been here for 19 years. My kids went through the public school system all the way from K through 12th grade. Really, really love this town and would really like to have the opportunity to serve. And I really appreciate the consideration. I appreciate you going through this process and taking the time and treating it with the seriousness it deserves. So I appreciate the consideration.
Thank you. And I appreciate you applying and stepping up and coming tonight. So
sure.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you, sir.
Very good. Yeah, likewise. Good night.
Good night. Okay, so councilors assemble. We're all here. I see everybody is here this evening. So we will now that is our final interview. The interview process is closed after interviewing 20 people for the various committees. Let me see here. So what I'd like to do to start with is take a look at the minutes from the last meeting, which I sent around to everybody. So you should be able to see my screen. I want to be clear. When I said that the Moderator Advisory Council wasn't going to necessarily take minutes, I didn't mean that it was refusing to take minutes. I just meant that that it's not subject to the open meeting law. It didn't have to take minutes. So if it didn't take minutes for a meeting, it wasn't some problem. But my intent, of course, was to do that. It's fairly straightforward and easy enough to do these days. So these are the written minutes, and I'm trying to be a bit discoursive in them so that people get actually know what happened by reading the minutes. So these are the minutes that a draft of August 4th. We had 100% people there. We introduced each other. I went through the charge of the committee, and then we talked about the appointment process, which we're going to continue tonight. And then we talked about the suggested questions, gave you my questions. Every single one of you had these questions, ideas, which, as you can see, I definitely adopted a good number of them, but being that there are only 5 questions per committee, I couldn't adopt all of them. And then we talked about future tasks, and then we took public comment, and then we scheduled this meeting. So I don't know if anybody had any comments on these draft minutes or not. If not, I'd take a motion to accept them.
So moved.
Seconded.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I guess we have to go roll call. Well, we don't have to roll call because we're not subject to open meeting.
Raise hand.
Aye.
Yeah. And so everybody, so that's unanimous. So the minutes of August 4th adopted, and I'm aye. Adopted unanimously. We have 100% attendance tonight. And great, thank you. So the next thing we're going to be doing, taking a look at our agenda for this evening, is the main thing that we're going to be discussing this evening, which is going to be discussion of candidates from the committee appointment interviews by the moderator. So I would imagine this is going to be the main event this evening. And I note a few things before we get into it. First, I want to start with the warrant committee, because that obviously is the one that has 6 seats to appoint, 5 3-year seats, 1 1-year seat, and I believe we have 13 people? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 13 applicants, 2 of which are seeking reappointment, and there are a number of people who also had applied to be on bylaw review or some other committee in addition. However, we want to use them. I would note to think of the qualifications and the experience in the interview answers, as aside from the people themselves. It's a small town. I know you may know these people, you may work with the people, you may live on your street with people. I try to sort of put that thing aside and just sort of look at them as applicants. I also would like to, and obviously feel free to say whatever you want. But I'm trying, being these people volunteered their time and put their name out there. I really don't want to go trashing people. So be more positive, like why you like these people. And maybe if you want to say why you didn't favor a certain person, fine. But I just want to be respectful and acknowledge that while it's a job interview of a sort, honestly, these people are stepping up to volunteer and they didn't have to. So I definitely want to make sure we keep that in mind. And also just to know, as I've said all along, and as I will continue to say, I have not made any decisions about committee appointments. I'm going to wait till after this. And then the public comment period is going to be open till August 26th for anybody out there, including members of this council, who want to talk to me or email me or give me other thoughts. I will be taking that all into account till the 26th, and then I will make the decisions by the 31st, and I will explain to the town who was chosen and what my reasonings were. Joan.
Adam, yeah, let me read my hand.
Joan had her hand up, Mark.
No, I'm gonna put my hand up. Sorry.
I had my hand up.
No. You know what? I'm not gonna be impolite. I'll raise my hand as well. Go ahead, Joan.
Go ahead, Joan.
Okay. All right. So I just want to make two general comments before we start. First of all, I want to just commend you, Adam, and all the candidates on a very smooth process, I thought. I am like so impressed by all of the candidates and their qualifications, and it's a win-win as far as I'm concerned with all these people. And I do hope that we go back to what we had said in one of our meetings, that for those candidates that aren't chosen for a particular position, that we somehow plug them in, get them to be town meetings or whatever. But it's a huge experience level we're dealing with. Secondly, it's just another thought that I've always kind of followed, and I just wondered if we could chat about it. The people who are being reappointed, I think my feeling has always been that if they've done a good job, they've done the work, they've done their homework, they've had the learning curve, then unless we hear otherwise, I generally am in favor of reappointing somebody who's willing to continue to step up. So I just kind of wanted to put that out there as my sort of overall feeling about it, but obviously I'm open to other comments. But those two comments I wanted to just get out there before we did the discussion. But thank you. Thanks for listening.
No, thanks, Joan. Mark?
Yeah, Adam, I guess you sent out this list, which is really helpful. And I was live on two interviews, one in I had conflicts with Council on Aging Board, also Select Board meeting. When you denote that they've applied for more than one committee, not a committee that you're appointing to, right? Just
a committee that I'm appointing to. If you look on the list, the committee applicant list, the one that I sent around to, it's posted on the town website. It's also, I sent it to all the town meeting members.
Oh, okay. So these individuals, I guess I'm not certain. And
if you look, like Max Hoyer applied for the warrant committee and for bylaw review. Right.
Okay, so sorry, I was confused by that when I looked at this. I should have looked at it more closely. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not paying much attention to the select board applicants.
Yeah, okay.
That's no longer my job.
No, that's right. That's okay. I just wanted the clarification, so I appreciate that. I'll throw in a couple of cents here if you want me to on warrant committee, and I think it's just a credible number of individuals here. I would reappoint the two individuals up for reappointment. I think both Hilton and Marie Warner. I think Marie only served for one term. I don't think
Hilton. Just to be clear, I know this question has come up also. Hilton Medeva Matson was appointed a year ago to fulfill the rest of the term,
Understood.
So he's only been on for a year. Marie Warner was appointed originally to fulfill the end of somebody's term, and then got
reappointed.
Got her own 3-year term. So this is her first time up for a 3-year term. Her second time up for a 3-year term.
I would, from my perspective, I think those points of view need to be represented. And then I'm not sure if you saw every single interview in the warrant committee. I was very impressed with Kathy Cohane. I think she got broad experience. I know she's a former library trustee and she was on the building committee and has been active in town, and she's a strong leader. I think she'd do a really good job in the warrant committee. I think she has a lot of background and knowledge about budgets in town. And I also thought that Mark Carthy, I know they're both representing, come from a perspective of the library. So you might want to, the only issue there I would have is that you need those same two perspectives from the library. But I thought Mark did a good job as well. The other individuals were fine. I really couldn't distinguish between any of them. So those are my 2 cents to begin with here, Matt. Adam.
Thank you. Liz.
I agree with what's been said about returning committee members, but I'd like to add one point on the warrant committee, since that's where most of my experience is. The warrant committee is a finance committee, and I think that the question, what do you think are the town's biggest challenges? How would you approach them? I thought that there, Mark Carthy was the candidate who gave the kind of answers that was someone deeply grounded in finance would give, which are we want to start we can't just look at the revenue side, that there has to be some attention to the cost side. There needs to be some answers. There needs to be some attention to productivity. We need to look at comparable communities and see if if there's anyone out there doing better at controlling costs than we are. And that we need to have some measure of output per dollar spent in each of these areas. I thought those are the points that you get out of a standard finance text, and they're in finance text because they're right. So I thought that he showed the strongest finance background of anyone who was interviewed.
Thoughts about anybody else?
I don't know how to operate
I'm
the
sorry,
hand.
Tommy. I'm sorry. Just when I was talking to Liz, see if that was all, if she had any other thoughts. And then Debbie's got her hand up.
Yes. I guess my only other comment was, Adam, you asked each person to talk about education, what they had to offer based on education, work experience, and other service to the town.
Mm-hmm.
And I really thought all of the candidates should have addressed all three of those points, and not all of them did.
All right, thanks. Debbie, then Rosemary, then I guess Tommy.
Okay, I absolutely agree with the comments made about specific applicants by the people who have spoken before me. They're on my list. I made a list basically for the warrant committee, the 6 people who I thought were going to have the least learning curve, because we have so many people leaving the warrant committee. If we had too many people who had to learn too much, that would slow it down. And while normally I would say we always should add rookies in positions and balance with the rest of a committee so that we're always, growing people, I don't think that the warrant committee, with all of its turnover, could tolerate too many people who had too much to learn. So I'll just go down through the 6 people who I thought had the least learning curve, which are Mark Carthy, Jonathan Hakeem, Kathy Kahane, Hilton, Marie Warner, and Frank Grimaldi.
Okay, I'm just writing that down. Got it. Thank you. Rosemary?
Thanks. We're sticking with the warrant committee for now, right?
That's all we're talking about right now. Yeah.
Warrant committee. So I felt that the people who I thought could contribute the most, and in light of what has been said about new members bringing in, I don't think any of them would have any trouble learning learning the material. They're very smart. Alexis Demerjian. I think she would be a wonderful addition to the warrant committee. She's an attorney. She's had done lots of work in the public service sector. She is a trained mediator. She was articulate, I thought, and very thoughtful. And she has a clear understanding of the trade-offs that have to be made with when you're looking at long-term versus short-term. Words, she's appreciative of words and their impact. She is, I think, particularly capable of being a solid member of that group. She also made a comment about she thinks it's interesting that people who don't speak, that's also an interesting factor, something to make note of and to try and find out what that's about. Jonathan Hakim is my next choice. Lots of financial experience, investment banker, all, no question about all of that. He's mentoring students or startups. He's got some. He appreciates the work that's involved. It's going to be how to get more with less. He mentioned the possibility of some advantages with AI if it's used appropriately. He also talked about he's the only one that talked about engaging young people, which is an interesting idea. Engaging young people in our town process, and again, as many people said, talked about what he thought was the need to break down gobs of information into more digestible pieces. So thought that would be something that the committee could pursue. Kathy Cohane, tons of financial experience. She's very familiar, obviously, with budget. She got she's the library building committee. She's very I think, comfortable communicating with people. She has innovative ideas. She is responsible, does her homework. She's a very active participant in town meeting, and I think she knows that coming up, priorities need to be chosen, and then being able to back up how we choose the priorities based on facts and figures. Hilton, I liked him. I thought he was very. His focus is on. He's a consultant for systems efficiency focus. He understands the pull between the schools and the rest of the town infrastructure, and appreciates that that's a difficult problem that the committee is always grappling with. I thought he was very thoughtful in his responses. I think he's, you understands, obviously you need facts to back up your position. So I don't see any reason in not reappointing him. Then I have Kevin Smith, who did, he's retired, and I think that he could he offered his strength of doing cost benefit analysis, which I think is certainly something that we could have more of. And finally, Marie Warner. Why wouldn't you reappoint her? So she's certainly got a solid handle on what goes on and what's required. So those are my choices.
Thank you, Rosemary. Very comprehensive. So next we're going to Tommy Olson, then John, and then Joan has her hand up. Tommy. Okay, we'll go to John. We'll come back to Tommy. Mr. Bowe.
Yep. Okay. Let's see. I agree with much of what everybody said. I was more impressed with Mark than I expected to be. I mean, he was like right on with all the financial stuff, all the
Mark Carthy?
experience with town meeting.
You mean Mark Carthy?
Mark Carthy, yep.
Okay,
And
yep.
Yes, Mark Carthy.
Certainly
And
not me,
and
Adam. So
his
yeah.
finance background. Oh, there's another. Yeah, that Mark.
John, no,
Sorry, Mark.
that was a little bit of an inside joke there. You see how he said it, yeah. So yeah, I wasn't looking for any compliments from you, John, but I have no respect for you. That's kind of a funny. You saw Adam sort of let that in there. We mean Mark Carthy, right? Yeah. So
no, I assumed he wasn't talking about you, Mr.
Oh, Adam has this sense of humor that you sometimes miss, and I sort of appreciate it. We served together for a number of years, and I could catch it at times in board meetings, and he was funny. So
I always forget that you two are there together.
Yeah, no. He would say these things, and it's like, oh yeah, he's funny the way he said that. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna shut up.
Mr. Bowe.
Okay, Mark. Yes, for Marie Warner. Just from what the reasons everyone else says. One thing about Alexis that Rosemary didn't mention, she's a background as a mediator. I think that could come in handy with dealing with the town staff and with town meeting and other departments and committees.
Yeah.
And who I'm just trying to read my. I was also more impressed with Kathy Cohane than I had expected because I knew her from town meeting and from the library, but her background professionally is way deeper than I expected, and just yes for her. Jonathan is like different from many of the others. He seems like a guy who would always do his homework and be really deep into it. He came prepared. Jonathan Hakeem.
Yeah.
Even talking, he's my neighbor, so I don't want to piss him off too much. He's just thinks very deeply, researches stuff. He's like seems to interested in everything. So and I think he contributed right away. So in terms of the rookie learning curve, it'd be good to, I don't think he would be hampered at all by that. And what Debbie said about having the rookie pipeline, yes, we should always have that in the back of our minds, just to have the bench and the AAA team ready to come up to Fenway. I'm just what does the other thing say on this note here, Adam?
You tell me, my friend.
I guess that was it. Yeah, people doing their homework.
You gave me 5. You got a 6th.
Okay, and no, I'll think it's on a screen somewhere. I'll figure it out.
Okay. So next up, Joan, you had your hand up.
Go next.
I had my hand up here. I just couldn't get on.
Oh, sorry, Tommy. All right. So you mind, Joan? We'll just go to Tommy.
Yep, that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Tommy.
I would start with the 2 reappointees, Hilton and Marie, for obviously what everyone said already. Kathy Cohane, definitely. Mark, I've been persuaded by a number of people, does a lot of homework. I like the cost benefit analysis. I think Alexis makes a lot of sense. And as far as the bench, the last guy, his last name is Fallon. Is it Tim Fallon?
Yes.
I thought, given that he had started his own business, that he has sort of an understanding of how to do that. I mean, I think he might make a good bench person. I think he might be good for number 6. I think he brings a different perspective, more of a community in town that isn't often heard from. So those are my 6.
Great. Joan?
Okay, thank you, everybody. Yeah, thanks. So, um, I'm not going to make a lot of comments because I think everything has been said, but I would say my choices would be, or recommendations would be, again, Matson and Marie Warner, Kathy Cohen, Mark, Alexis. And I'm really on the fence. I think that for the 6, I would go with almost everybody. I do think Susan Samuelson also impressed me, but she may be better positioned for bylaws, because I know that she went for both, so I was leaning towards her, but at least one or the other.
Well, she only went to for bylaw.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I had her on the. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought
I have her
bylaws.
down for bylaw.
Just for bylaws, not for warrant, really?
No.
I thought
yes.
oh, good then. Or no wonder nobody brought up her name. I also thought Kevin Smith spoke very well. So that was my other thing that we haven't talked about him before, but I was impressed by his background and some of the things he mentioned during his interview as well. So that's it. So I probably feel strongly about the 5, and then agree with the group, whatever you decide for the 6th.
Thanks. I just wanted to
Thank
see
you.
before, Adriana, did you have any recommendations you wanted to make? I think everyone else has spoken once. Not that you have to, just asking.
Right. So, for full disclosure, I was away at a family wedding in Seattle and got back on Monday night at 1:30 a.m. So I did not have, so I would take very few vacations during the year. So this was, 5 day that just overlapped with the interviews. I did not watch any interview. And because you have the period open until the 26th of August, I plan to look and send you an email. And I wanted to be in this meeting today to hear what everybody else had to say. And then I will listen to those, look at the interviews and send you my notes in writing.
Sounds great. Like I said, and for everybody on the council and for those in the public watching, anybody can write to me. This isn't the council's only night to talk to me about this. You can all, if you change your mind or something hits you, or Adriana, if you want to, whatever, and members of the public too can reach out to me, moderator@belmont-ma.gov. That's also on the website on the moderator page if you can't write it down that fast. Email me, tell me what you think. People have been doing it, so and I read every single one of them. Believe me, no one's making it easy for me, and we have a lot of candidates who are making it very difficult because there's so many good people. It's hard to say.
That is true.
We only have 6 slots, and also I don't know if anyone had any thought as to who would be better for the 3-year slots, or who would be better in the 1-year slot, or whether that matters to anybody. But anyway, Mark Palillo, you were up next.
Yeah, no, thank you, Adam. I'm listening to some of the comments from other council members. So I only gave you 4 names. Convinced that Jonathan Hakeem and Alexis Emergian, if you say that name there, are likely good candidates as well. So I just wanted to throw, if you're taking votes for it and you want 6, I would add those additional 2.
Whatever people feel free to, you can say you like.
No, I think just listening, because I was somewhat neutral on that, but some of the comments from other council members convinced me that Hakeem and Alexis would be good ads. Thank you.
I mean, and you could give me more than 6 if you are torn between people.
I think it's I think it's incredible that you had this many applicants for that position, but
it was not without work.
Yeah. Good work.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Mr. Bowe.
I just wondered, do people think give higher precedence to people who are town meeting members, like current or past?
Yeah,
because
good question.
Does the warrant committee work for us, town meeting members? Do they
Town meeting.
report to the
Work for
moderator?
town meeting, John.
Yeah. Town meeting.
I know officially, but
yeah, it's the legislative branch's financial watchdog of the executive branch, if you will.
Okay, so and you get to appoint them, not town meeting.
Well,
yeah.
So go the bylaws of the town. I don't make the rules.
That's out in the weeds. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I have been told by town council that I have the legal authority and duty and requirement to make the appointments, but that doesn't mean I can't listen to people.
So my point was, I give slightly more points to people who are town meeting members because they know what the needs are.
Yeah, I would agree with that, John. Good point. Sorry, I didn't raise my hand.
You're just saying ditto. That's fine.
Ditto.
Ditto.
Rosemary. Rosemary? You have
Yes,
your hand up?
yes, please. I would disagree with that. I think that some of these very impressive people, Alexis is not a town meeting member. I think the thing to think about is temperament, intelligence, able to pick things up, able to consider other opinions, able to obviously do the work, do the heavy lifting, which the warrant is incredible. So I don't think that one should be disqualified for not being a town meeting member. I think that, or given less points or whatever for not being a town meeting member. I think that was not foremost in my mind at all when I looked at the candidates.
I guess for the record, and I guess for the people who are at home, they're just going to, who don't maybe not have the committee applicant list in front of them, even though it's on the website on the page, town moderator page. It's Mark Carthy, Brian Curtis, Alexis Demerjian, Timothy Fallon, Frank Grimaldi, Jonathan Hakeem, Max Hoyer, Emily Wang, Kathy Cohane, James Knight, Hilton Madhavan-Matson, Kevin Smith, and Marie Warner. Those are the applicants for warrant committee, with Hilton Madhavan-Matson and Marie Warner up for reappointment. Not that they have to be reappointed, but they're up for reappointment. Is any other comments or advice you have for me? Because I have going to have a lot to think about. But this is all very helpful for me. I appreciate you giving me your ideas. Clearly can't agree with all of you because there aren't enough slots. I think you have given me something like, adding them all together, something like 9 or 10 out of the 13 people have had somebody say their name. So I'll do what I can.
Well, I mean, I think it's, Adam, what you're doing is you're gathering input, which I think is, frankly commendable. And yeah, ultimately you have the appointing authority and you'll decide. And we have confidence. I have confidence that you'll make the right choices.
Yeah, thank you. Debbie?
Yes. So I agree that Alexis is really good. However, I'm reminded of a paper I wrote way back in my undergraduate days about orchestras. And back in the 18th century, if you were a really good violinist, you got to play the violin part. If you were a marginal violinist, you got sent to the viola section and you got to play viola. And I don't want us to have 18 members only on the warrant committee and B, A- people perhaps on the bylaw review committee. So when I was looking at everybody, Alexis seemed to me to be actually more interested than some other people in doing bylaw committee work. So I have her as a pick for the bylaw review committee because we need good people everywhere.
Well, we'll be getting to that just in a minute here. But yeah, I hear what you're saying. And that's the thing with the crossover. It's not just whether to appoint a person to warrant, but whether you could say, I don't want them on warrant, but I want them on whatever other thing they applied for. I mean, when I sent out the letter, I identified all the attorneys in town and mailed them a letter. You've heard a number of the people said they applied because they got the letter from me, right? And I told them we had these needs on these various committees, and some of them stepped up saying I could do that committee or the other committee, whichever you think is best. They weren't waffling or saying they had what they said in the interview is what they said in the interview. So, if you felt that someone came across saying I'd rather have this, then fair enough. But the reason that they applied for more than one committee, I don't take that as I don't know what I want, or I don't want this committee particularly. I think they're just responding to the letter I sent saying I need help in these various committees, and that's why they're stepping up. Because we have no lawyer going forward on the warrant committee at all. And the bylaw review committee, we have 3 seats to appoint, and lawyers are generally the people you want for that sort of thing. So that's why I sent the letter to the lawyers, because we needed a bunch of them in their heart. it's hard to find them when you want them to do something that's a volunteer thing sometimes. So yeah. Any other comments, warrant committee related, before we move on? All right. Thank you so much. Bylaw Review Committee. We have 3 seats to appoint here. There are 2 3-year seats and 1 2-year seat. And the applicants are Alexis Demersion, Timothy Fallon, Anthony Fitzpatrick, who you just heard from earlier this evening, Frank Grimaldi, Max Hoyer, John Parala, and Susan Samuelson. So I need 3 people for this. So, Joan.
I just had a question about this, because I think one of the candidates at one point during their interview said that they would advise the town on the impact of the bylaw on the town.
Yeah.
And is that part of the bylaw committee? Because I seem to remember when anybody comes up and speaks about the bylaw, they talk about whether it's written as a bylaw and is it a legal bylaw as opposed to the impact. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it has been the bylaw that creates the bylaw review committee is pretty poorly written, I think. And I've had this conversation with the select board. They're supposed to advise on form and placement to the select board,
right?
With any change to the general bylaw. And then it says, and advise town meeting about changes to bylaw, and it doesn't necessarily limit that to form and placement. Now, whether that was, I'm just paraphrasing,
right.
Whether that was the intent or not, I don't know. I think it might be a good idea at some point. I got lots of ideas on how to change the general bylaws, but it's one thing at a time.
Right.
So I mean, I think that if you just read the bylaw, I think you might get the impression that there was a broader scope to bylaw review committee than it really is. I can see where someone could just be a lawyer, read that and go, oh, it says this. But then in practice, that's not what it is. It's more the form and placement.
All right, because I just had that question, yeah.
Although what they have done and what I've asked a question of the bylaw review committee candidates getting to this is when people have proposed bylaws and there's something illegal in it or it doesn't mesh with the rest of the bylaws, they have worked with the applicant or the petitioner to try to get it legal and get it so that it meshes, not to take a position on it, but just so that when it gets put forward, that should town meeting adopt it, it doesn't create a mess of the bylaws. So they do, that's more than, is that form and placement? Sort of yes and no, sort of no. But I guess it's form-ish. But if someone's proposing something completely illegal, oftentimes the bylaw review committee will go, this is a problem. So there is a bit of that. So the impact of the bylaw to the town, I guess, could fall within that. But generally speaking, form and placement's been sort of their bailiwick, as you've seen at town meeting over the many years you've served. So
I don't think they're. I've never thought of them as being a policy committee or an advocate committee. I think it's exactly what you described it as being, and I'm comfortable with them working with proponents to ensure that the intent of what the proponent is providing makes sense as an add to the bylaw. I mean, I think that's okay. Some people have complained about that. I don't think that's a problem. But in terms of advocating and impact, I don't think that's their role.
But who do you think we should appoint? Because that's what we're discussing tonight.
I listened to Anthony Fitzpatrick tonight. I thought he was great. And Susan Samuelson would be my second. And it's hard to know. Frank Grimaldi perhaps as well. I mean, it depends on whether he's appointed to the warrant committee. So
well, just give me what you think. And
those 3, I think, rise to the top for me, because I really think that based on what I just heard, Alexis should be on the warrant committee. So that's where I'm sort of falling right now, Adam.
Okay. I mean, keep in mind, you can give me more than the minimum number, but
I want to make it more harder for you because if I give you 6, then you have to parse that out. So
it's already hard. It's not going to change.
No, I think you need to parse that out. So I'm giving you 3. So then you can sort of crosswalk that as you want, if you wish.
John?
Susan stood out as the best for this. Just my feel for in the 5 minutes we had with her. Just for how thoughtful she was in the background. And then Anthony tonight and Alexis was the third. I didn't have a good feel nothing really negative stood out. These are the ones just sort of like above the others in my mind. The way you're describing the duties of this thing is just so dry and technical. It's like, man, are these people going to be bored? Or is it,
Well, it's one of the questions I asked is what makes you want to serve on the bylaw review committee? I was serious. So,
I guess it's a lawyer thing. So yeah.
yeah, well, we're odd that way. Rosemary?
So those that rose to the top for me were Susan Samuelson. She's got just tons of experience. I think she articulates it well. She she talked about you need to look at the potential, as she said, what could go wrong with a proposed bylaw change or something of that nature. So I think she's really thinking long and hard about the impact. I also thought Max Hauer,
Hoyer.
Hoyer, an attorney, tons of financial experience, and also he's in his practice, he's drafted and amended a lot of bylaws. So I think that he'd be no stranger to the process. And talked about I thought he came across as a person easy to work with, and personable, and you can agree to disagree without being disagreeable. All important characteristics if you're going to be on a committee like that. Timothy Fallon was my final choice. He also was a lawyer, seemed very comfortable. He said reviewing statutes, bylaws, does it all day long. So I don't think any of this material would be strange for him to manage. And yeah, neither one of them are, these are sort of new ventures for them, I think, into town governance. But I think we should, I think we want to be, well, personally, I like that. Bringing new people into the process and getting their perspectives, I think, is very important at this time. Thank you.
Thanks. Who have we heard from? Joan, did you have anybody you wanted to bring?
Yeah, I didn't speak. So I would also agree with Susan Samuelson, Max, and either Tim Fallon or the fellow we spoke with tonight, Anthony.
Anthony Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Thank you.
Tommy, did you have anything?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can never tell. The gentleman we spoke to tonight, I'm going to go with Susan Samuelson. And there was one other, if I can read, it's getting dark, so I can't read my.
Put the light on.
I'm in the car, so
Oh,
kind of a problem. Hold on one second. I have my other notes here. You all enjoying the concert?
mhm.
Well, we're here and not so much. So
Okay, then Fallon.
I can hear it
Fallon,
from here.
Samuelson, and Fitz. No, you can hear it, right?
No.
Yeah, I'm half a block away.
Yeah. So they're very loud tonight. So Fallon, the gentleman tonight is Fitzpatrick.
Yep.
And Samuelson.
Gotcha. Liz, did you have anything?
Not a real informed opinion. If I were going to choose, it would be Fitzpatrick, Alexis, and maybe, and probably Max rather, but I don't have the kind of deep conviction I have about this as I do about warrant committee appointments.
Understandable. Great. Debbie?
Yes, well, I've already mentioned that I had Alexis on my list,
Mhm.
and I also had Susan on my list. And based upon his interview tonight, Anthony Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, gotcha. Any other comments about bylaw review committee candidates? Okay, let's go to comprehensive capital budget committee. This one, we have 2 seats to appoint. They're all 3-year seats, and the only applicants are the 2 for reappointment, Chair Chris Doyle and Aaron Picklingus, who are up for reappointment, and they're the only 2 applicants. So, Mark?
Yeah, they're terrific. Reappoint them. I mean, Chris
Short and
is
sweet.
a strong leader, and Aaron is, I work with Aaron on a number of committees. He's great.
John?
Yep, 100% agree. I feel good when they get up to talk at town meetings, like they know what they're doing, all the right level of details. They can express it all so good.
Joe?
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I don't want to just make it go through like we just agree with them, but I think they were both articulate, they're both committed, they're both well-known. They certainly don't have a learning curve, and I see no reason not to reappoint them.
Any other comments on the comprehensive capital budget committee candidate?
I just want to say that I always feel very comfortable when Chris Doyle gets up. I may not always agree with her, but I know she's done her homework. Did that get registered?
Yeah.
I'm writing with a pen as you're talking. That's why I'm not talking. Thank you.
No, I always feel very comfortable because I know she's balanced the pros and the cons, you know.
Great. Yep. Any other comments on capital?
They're both great. They're great at town meeting. They're more impressive at their interviews, if that's possible.
Great. Anybody else?
If I was going to be on one of these committees, that's the one I would pick for myself.
Didn't apply, John.
I know, next year.
I did 2 years as the ex officio from the school committee. Yes, there was a good group of people then.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Permanent Building Advisory Committee. We have 2 seats to appoint. They're all 3-year seats. Pat Bruce, who's the chair, is up for reappointment, and John Parala, who also applied for, for bylaw review, is also the only other applicants. We have 2 seats to appoint, and we have 2 applicants, one of which is a reappointment. So not to say that we have to fill them. You know, you could always leave it vacant and run another round or something if people felt that way. No pressure. Just saying. Mark, you have your hand up.
I mean, the institutional knowledge that Pat, and I did listen to her interview, is incredible. She has so much background knowledge and experience, and I worked closely with her when we started to formulate a plan for the rink, and it was incredibly helpful to have that background and knowledge. So I clearly support her reappointment. I didn't really I didn't really know much about John Parala, but he's the second applicant, so I guess I'm agnostic there, Adam.
Okay. Any other comments?
Can we say so moved?
I'm sorry, Joan's got her hand up.
Yeah, no, I just feel like, again, just getting something on the record that, obviously Pat Bruce has, been on building committee for a long time. She knows the ins and outs. She's dedicated to the town. I did listen to the other interview, and I thought it was it's not by default that I would support him. I think that he would do a good job. I certainly think he's better fit, in my opinion, for this position than on bylaws. So I would recommend that, we fill this with these 2 people.
I agree with Joan. John is obviously a much better fit for this than bylaws, and it would be a crime to say no to Pat.
I'll put that in the minutes.
Right.
I agree with that one.
I'm kidding.
I-
Rosemary?
I do hope she's training a replacement.
That's
Eventually,
good point.
maybe she's going to be, exhausted by it all. But she is, yeah, she's hard to beat in terms of knowledge and dedication, and knows the ins and outs. So certainly reappoint her.
And Mr. Perella?
I don't have any strong feelings either way. Does anybody?
No.
If anyone wants to raise your hand, just let me know, and we'll go around like we've been. But yeah. I don't know who has. Anyone else have any? Liz, have anything to say about permanent building?
No.
Adam, the only thing Pat got into, I can't forget how she described it, but she wanted to be reappointed because she wanted to finalize or complete, was it a procedures document? I can't remember what she
Yeah,
referenced
something
there.
that she said was lost. Yeah, she didn't.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, to the point that someone just made on replacement, I think that would be helpful because losing that institutional knowledge, whether Pat will agree to serve 3 years from now, I think is going to be challenging and difficult. And, the permanent building committee is as it is. I mean, we have temporary building committees, of course, as you know, that you appoint as well. Having that sort of roadmap or procedures document, whatever you want to call it, that's something that the permanent building committee can work on with the other members, I think would be really helpful.
She referred to it as a primer, I think it was. A
I mean,
primer.
I think,
Yeah.
with the appointing authority, you could ask them to sort of focus in, maybe they need some level of support for that, but I think establishing some kind of primer or whatever it might be for future permanent building committees and for the temporary building committees, I think would be really helpful.
Yeah, they met last night and they were talking about whether it's a manual or a handbook or a primer, but the whole idea was to have like a book where temporary building committees so that could pass on the knowledge as to how to do it. Like what the process is of running a building committee, what to look for, pitfalls, using examples of things that have gone right and gone wrong. That sort of thing is a sort of a guidebook for, new people to sort of lead them along. Yeah, John?
Yes, especially since this is the permanent building committee, so they look out a lot of years. Some of them, a project is in process when they join, and it's still going on when they quit, like 3 terms later. And I'm not making it up. So, yeah, have a talk with Pat and say, make sure one of your higher priorities is to pass on as much knowledge as you can.
Well,
Do you have any comments on John, on the applicants?
Oh no, you have to say yes to her. He seemed fine, John. I saw no reason to say no to this. And as you all said, he's better fit for this than the bylaw review committee.
Right.
Okay.
I'd like to second that as well. I think that's true.
Okay, thank you. Any other, Rosemary, you have your hand up?
No, I'll take it down.
That's fine. We're just having a chat. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to vote on. I'm just asking what you think because, and obviously you all have your own opinions, and some of them agree and some of them don't, and that's as it should be because otherwise this wouldn't be helpful to me if everyone just agreed. So much appreciated. Any other comments and any of the applicants or committees or anything like that? Like I said, you don't have to.
Yeah.
If something hits you later, before the 26th, email me, tell me. I will certainly look at it. You're
I
not.
was going to say something.
You're
Go
not
ahead. Rosemary, you go. Then
It's not done tonight. So yeah, Rosemary.
Yeah, so I think this process has been very educational, and I would think for not only for I have found it so, but I would hope that other committees might pick up this idea. Well, what would that be? Select board, having open interviews of candidates, I think is even if they're reappointments. in listening to, for instance, Pat Bruce, you really got, I got more of a sense of all that goes on with that committee while they describe, what's involved. So,
It's not super good. I'm glad
Yeah.
you enjoyed
Tommy,
that.
Tommy, hold on.
We look.
so
ahead.
anyway, I would just hope that, you've started a trend. Thanks.
Yeah, well, when I was in the select board, the major committees we would interview, planning board, zoning board of appeals, things like that. We didn't interview all of the 60 some odd committees that we appointed, but we interviewed the major ones. So that's why I sort of brought that idea over here to the moderator side, because that hadn't been, been the process.
But was that on TV or?
On the select board meetings, they weren't, I mean, they were broadcasted and they're recorded
Yeah.
as part of a regular select board meeting.
As
They weren't
part of a regular
set-
meeting. Got it.
Yeah, they were just in the middle of a regular 3-hour meeting. They weren't
Mm.
set aside back-to-back interviews.
Uh-huh.
That I'm doing here. That's new. Joan?
Yep, of course, one more final thing to say, but I just wanted again to thank all of you for all of this and Adam for organizing it, and obviously to thank the candidates that maybe, that you decide not to select, but really try to plug them in somewhere. I know there was one candidate in particular who stuck out to me because of a new resident in town. And I'm thinking, hopefully that person will, start out a town meeting and then go forward with that. But just trying to plug people in. They put their name out there. I was on nominating committees in my profession for years and years and years. And I always said, okay, you may not do this, or you may not get elected to this position or selected, but let's put you here. So let's not lose these people. Now, I hope to see them at least a town meeting, or at least at other committees. And again, please give them all our thanks too for putting their names forward.
Yeah, I mean, I know in the select board, we often had a lot of good people and we couldn't appoint them all.
Right.
And I would say, we're going to keep the resume on file, and people probably thought it was just a brush off, but
No,
it was not a brush off, because I seriously, the next year,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're appointing new people. I want you here. Are you okay with that? So I definitely am not losing anybody here.
And the gratitude and thanks for putting, like I said, I think I told you, Adam, I applied for a couple of positions within the town committees and never heard anything. And to me, that's like that should not happen. So I don't want this to happen out of our committee, our council, excuse me. I want them thanked.
It's just as important to tell people that they have not been appointed as it is to tell the
Correct.
people that they have. No, it's 20 people. It's not like undoable number of people.
Right. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
That's fully my intention to, and I also want to tell the people that, look, if you're watching, I can't appoint everybody. If I've got 13 people for 6 in the warrant committee, it's not a reflection on you. It's just a reflection on, I've got the good problem of too many qualified people. It's a good problem to have, but it's a problem nonetheless. And that if it doesn't fit now, there are other committees in the town, 60 something other committees that maybe you have interest in, because I know the select board is looking for people. And B, this will come up again next year and next year and next year. There's always a reappointment process every year. So just because it's not now doesn't mean it's not ever. So sometimes it takes a couple of years to get in. That's fine. All right. So moving on the agenda, let me just grab that for a second. Our next item is discussion of future tasks to undertake, including but not limited to model town meeting, moderator, certificate of merit. Yep. So Mark and Joan had offered to work on this model town meeting in the schools. I did reach back out to the principal recently. He did write back to all 3 of us and linked us into someone in the social studies department to try to see if we can get something going. So I don't know, Joan and Mark, if you want to sort of
Adam, I'll reach out. I can send an email, Joan, if you like, and then try to arrange a meeting. I'm away next week in Dallas, but perhaps sometime after that to meet in person with this individual to talk about that. Joan, would that work for you?
Yeah.
I don't know, Adam. I don't know whether you want to be there, but it's not necessary. We can meet and then report back to this group in terms of what our thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the reasons I think this council is a great idea, is that we can.
So we'll do that. Sure.
This sort of legwork, because I can't do everything as one person, but we can as a group do a lot.
So I'll reach out. I saw that email. I haven't responded, but I will, Joan, and we'll.
Yeah, great, Mark.
Works for you and me and perhaps this individual.
Great.
Okay, perfect.
And the other one, I know we talked. I'm sorry, Liz.
Just a suggestion, Mark, now that Adam has raised it with the principal, you might want to talk to Mike McAllister, who had, for two reasons. Obviously, since he's the head HR guy, he knows pretty much everyone and knows who's likely to be interested and sympathetic to this on the teaching staff. But before, his previous position was social studies coordinator. So he has a really good idea of how this might fit into the curriculum.
Okay, I know Mike well, so
Yeah.
thank you for that advice.
Yeah, and another thing was that I know this was brought up, I forget by whom, but a number of people about doing a town meeting member social event, possibly before the November special town meeting. Maybe something at the library, just a little get together for people to socialize. Someone would have to take the lead and organize that. That's more than I could do at this point. But Debbie?
Well, this is going back to our previous item. In listening to all of the interviews, there was a constant theme of, getting information out to the town. And there's push and there's pull. And if I look at the number of views on the interviews on YouTube, for example, it's really low.
Yeah.
So I thought there's another project that might be interesting in the school, in the high school area, which is actually to try to understand better how people are getting their information and to what extent, pushing and pulling are factors. And so the thought, and I don't know if it's a good one, we have a group here, is a survey of some sort that the high school students might do. There's math involved. There's, it's a project that might be doable. They'd learn a lot, and we might learn a lot about how are people really getting their information? What would be easiest for them, if they want to? Would they like information pushed to them? Would they sign up for mailing lists, for example, or text lists about certain topics? There's lots of stuff on the town website, but clearly people are not going there on a regular basis, nor are they watching the YouTube videos. Just a thought to share.
One of the
Yeah.
things that Belmont Media, I'm on the Belmont Media Center board. Debbie, I'm not certain you knew that, but we did do a survey on this as it relates to BMC. Let me see if I can find out whether we asked the type of question that you just posed. How do folks how are they informed? I think we walked away thinking that we needed to do more social media postings rather than general stuff, because I think perhaps other generations, younger generations, millennial and younger, that's how they get their information. And so I'll see what data we pick there and share it with this council.
There was one more fact. Maybe it's only anecdotal. I was chatting with the letter carrier on my route,
Yeah.
and it was the Belmont Voice Distribution Day. And the letter carrier told me that he's heard people in the neighborhood complain that it, quote, ought to be by subscription. They think the town is paying for it.
That's
They're
too
not.
bad.
Not
They're
true.
not.
They're
They're
not.
not.
I know. It's
Yeah.
donations.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, the Voice has really added a night. I think it's a good paper, and I think it's
Absolutely.
a dimension of information to our community. And I think the editor does a great job. I think they do a really good job, and we're using them in BMC to advertise, and Council on Aging Board. We're trying to get more press there about some of the things we're involved with. I think getting information, and in Belmont Media Center now is in the schools. I don't know if you knew that, right? There is, so maybe there's a connection there with trying to reach out to the community in terms of how would they like to receive information around town government.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's all good stuff.
I can explore that, Debbie, a little bit more with Jeff Hansel and see whether it's information we gathered, but how do we, and sorry, Adam, what I've learned in my years in serving here in town is that new families that move to our community that are raising children the spouse, both parents are working. It's hard for them to get plugged in and understand what's going on, and they don't even know how town government is structured. And we try to draw more people in for future generations. So that's part of the issue as well. But I think there's certainly a way that we all as a town government can push information out there that's easily digestible beyond what we currently do and gathered, right? So I think there's more that we can do there.
Well, Taylor's doing a lot of work on Facebook. He's walking around town doing the selfie and talking about different topics, a couple of seconds, and then, tell me what you think. So that's kind of an interesting approach. I don't think that's been done before, but, it's one way to think about it. Young people, I don't think use Facebook.
Yeah, Mom
No,
Downey does that in New York.
my daughter, they're not on Facebook anymore. My daughter's not on. That's old hat. So my daughter and son,
exactly. But it would be, adults are, aren't they?
my wife's on it. I'm not on social media. I don't really participate other than LinkedIn for business. So what we're doing at BMC is on the select board meetings, rather than sitting there on BMC and watching 3 hours of a board meeting, right? Because Adam and I had to sit through 3 hours of meetings, or maybe sometimes 4. Is that we're going to use we're going to use AI, artificial intelligence, to sort of when we provide the link, say, here are the topics that are being discussed at this point in time in the meeting. So you can plug in there, and here's a synopsis of what was discussed. And so I think that's just a way to digest without having to go through a 3 or 4 hour meeting of what the select board may be working on. And perhaps we do that with town meeting as well.
So I can tell you, Somerville City Council has been doing that for years. When you click on the agenda, on the minutes of the meeting, if you click on the item, it takes you to the video where that item is discussed. I use it all the time.
We don't do that right now. We're going to do that, Adam. Belmont Media Center. Not me. I mean, Jeff Hansel and his team. So.
Yeah, no, the Belmont Media Center is doing great work, as you see by the fact that they're doing our meeting right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank you for saying that. Appreciate that.
Moving on.
No, this is all good stuff. I don't know about any of the other projects right now. Obviously, the committee stuff is is sort of taking a lot of the air out of the room. But then we're going to have a little lull before we start getting into the special town meeting in November. I want to start thinking about also, not tonight, but think about potential questions if you wanted to do a survey at town meeting. To do, because we can use those the point solutions to vote at town meeting on a survey live. So it would be, I think that would be a really good idea, because you can get a much better turnout when you have almost everybody there. To rather than have a 30% or 10%, whatever response you get when you just send out a random survey link. So I think potential survey questions, things to start thinking about for the fall town meeting. The warrant is not put together yet, so there's really not anything for us to talk about. I'm hearing that some of the more larger items are probably not going forward at the special town meeting in November. There will be one. There's some time sensitive things that have to be voted on by town meeting before the end of the year. But some of the things we were expecting probably aren't going to be ready for prime time by then. But we'll know more. It's in the select board's control. The select board creates the warrant. I just run the meeting. So we'll see how that plays out, and whether there are any citizens petitions or not that come along and join on to that. So probably I would think we would have our next meeting probably in September sometime, but it's going to depend on sort of how things roll otherwise. But yeah, so unless anyone had anything else, I was going to open up for public comment. We have somebody who has their hand up.
I just have one other question. After you decide about this, will you let us know in advance before it's public, or how's that going to work? Not necessarily before it's public. No, we're done with our work here. As far as the committee appointments?
Well, as far as committee appointments, you're free to give me more thoughts between now and the 26th. So you're done only if you want to be done. You're not done if you don't want to be done. As far as me making the committee appointments, I'm going to make them between the 26th and the 31st.
Right.
And then I'm going to announce that and the reasons why. We're not going to meet about.
Okay. All right.
I want to, but I will send it around. Like I sent out that list of
Okay, that sounds good.
the committee candidates to you before I sent it out to town meeting. So I may let you know what I'm doing before I tell the
Okay.
wide world. But
Okay.
it's yeah. I mean, I think it's I'm excited.
Mhm.
It's a little bit imposing because of the number of good people, but it's exciting to be able to make some what I think will be
All right.
good appointments and then move committees forward. So
All right, great. Thank you. That sounds great. Wonderful.
Oh, also,
Thank you.
another thing
Thank you.
is that the town meeting handbook that's old, I redid it. Like within weeks of getting elected, I redid the whole thing and added whole new sections to it to update it. And I got sent, and then I got other comments. So the town is looking at it, and then I've got to move forward on that. It's a legal thing. It's really just a matter of just describing the law of how things work, because the current version is old and so it's wrong in a lot of areas. It's almost worse to have it than not to have it right now, because it's just giving out wrong information because it's so old. But I also want to make sure the new stuff I put in there is passing muster with everybody. So I'm not asking for like legal input from you, but certainly jazzing it up to look pretty would be nice, because that my skill set is involved in drafting it all. I am not good with like making it look pretty. That would be, in a digestible form, as people have said. I think that would be something maybe you guys could help with. But I'd love to get it out before the town meeting. I don't know if that's possible because it's kind of a long document. But
Yeah, Adam, AI can do that for you.
I am aware of that. I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
the pretty part.
yeah,
Let's
yes.
not go down that road all full force. Let's maybe
Well, my problem.
maybe some senior art student would love to do something, or just
Yeah, I mean, the problem is like with like AI is that I was getting sold like by one of the big legal companies an AI program. They gave us a free week to play with it. So I took I'd already drafted this. Someone had a brief. I had already drafted my opposing brief. I'd already gone and won the case. But I took their main brief. I put it in the AI and say generate an opposing brief for me, right? So it did a whole opposing brief for me, and it missed my biggest argument.
Oh boy.
I mean, all the other arguments were in there that I had used and they were correct, but I had this other argument and the AI just completely missed it. So
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm kind of thinking,
foolproof.
so what was the point of that? Because I still have to go through the whole thing and draft. So it's not, I don't know if it's there yet for that kind of thing, but for prettying up, for sure.
That's for prettying up, is certainly there.
Yeah. We get nice 3D graphics.
All the firms are engaging and investing huge amounts of money in AI. All of them.
Yeah. Well, I can see the merit in some of it, for sure. I'm not saying I don't use it, because there's some things that's been really helpful for, like,
you don't have to use it, but
taking minutes of meetings, for instance.
yeah, right.
Yes. So,
right.
Is there anything else before we open public comment? All right. I may be sorry. Someone's just using Zoom user, so I don't know who this is. So I'm apologize in advance if it's some kind of bad actor. I will try to do what I can.
AI.
Yeah, no, I've had this in public meetings and in cases I've had where some people just get on to just yell dirty words, and then you have to get them off the meeting. So
No.
I mean, it doesn't have a name. I'm happy to allow them to talk without using their name. I will. Well, the hand went down. I'm not trying to intimidate you into not speaking, please. If you're a legitimate Belmont person who wants to speak, I'm going to allow you to talk. I'm just giving a trigger warning for the general public here, I guess, that I don't know who Zoom user is.
It's Zoom bombing.
That is what I'm saying. I've had people jump on showing offensive pictures and screaming stuff, and it's unfortunate that people feel like that's a funny thing to do. But all right, so the hand is back up. I'm going to unmute you. I'm sure you're just a regular Belmont person. I'm sorry. I'm not. I'm just throwing that out there, though, because I don't know who this is. So, public, if you could keep your comment like 3 minutes or less, please. Thank you. You're now unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's Peg Callahan, town meeting member.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's a great relief. Thank you.
Town meeting member, precinct 7. I wanted to just express my appreciation to the committee to the candidates, and to you, Adam, for your efforts. I love your initiatives of strengthening town meeting. I look forward to look forward to the interface with the schools as well. So I have a couple of comments about especially the warrant committee appointments, because that's where my specific interest is. I feel very strongly, and I've heard this tonight, that we just can't have any learning curve for people appointed to the warrant committee. They need to understand, first of all, the significant amount of time and energy necessary to be warrant committee members. And I believe recently we've had some new members who have shortcut some of their responsibilities. So I think first and foremost, people need to understand it's a significant time, energy, and effort that's needed. I also think it's important for people appointed to the warrant committee to have an understanding of our town. And if they have provided service to the town, I think that's helpful. I do like the idea of people who have been town meeting members because they have a better understanding of what's going on in the town. Is it possible to give a couple of suggestions as to whom I would like? And if not, I can email you, Adam.
You can always email me, but you can say it here if you want. It's up to you. You've got another minute left.
Okay. So I have four for warrant committee members. I'd love to see Brian Curtis appointed. He's been in Belmont, grew up in Belmont. His children have gone to school in Belmont. And I loved his comment about he does have a great financial background, but his eye on the future. And I do think that's so important because we need to be looking forward. Certainly would support Marie for her experience and as a reappointment. I liked Kevin especially because I think of all the candidates who are new, not the reappointments, he has a real grasp and understanding of the warrant committee. And I certainly would support Kathy Cohane. So thank you all.
Thank you, Peg. Thank you. If any other people who would wish to speak? Okay, seeing no other members of the public. We have members of the public here, by the way, but we had 7. We're down to 4 members of the public watching the meeting on the Zoom. I'm assuming others are streaming it, watching it on cable, or watching this on video at some date in the future that is not August 19th, 2026. But that's to all of you, welcome, and thank you for watching. I don't know, let me check the agenda, but I believe that is what we were going to do this evening. So I will be, like I said, doing the appointment business for the next week and a half, and that is going to be sort of the main thing. And then after that, because I want to make sure we get the committees appointed for Labor Day when they start all doing their work, particularly the warrant committee. That's why I am moving this kind of quickly, because I definitely want to make sure that we get those seats filled quickly. And then we will start turning ourselves to some of these other initiatives, and then into town meeting, and on it churns. So with that, take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Moved by Liz Allison, seconded by Joan Drevens. All in favor? I see unanimous yes.
Aye.
Great. Thank you. I will
Thank you. Good job. Take care.
Well, thank you all. We'll be meeting again this fall. I will let you know.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you,
Okay.
everybody.
All the
Thank
best.
you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Everybody.